Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
As we're here in the epicenter of the NFL world and everybody's getting ready for the Super Bowl, I look directly across from where I'm sitting at my 11 o'clock. And there was a makeshift facade of Lambeau Field and a giant Visit Pittsburgh display, as both of those are the next two hosts for the NFL Draft. Lambeau coming up this year in April and Pittsburgh next year in April, where the next two NFL Drafts will be. And they're certainly here to encourage media to come to their event, to cover their event in their cities. Well, of course, this year's NFL Draft in Green Bay coming up in April. They're just outside of Lambeau Field. And Matt Miller over at ESPN, after the Senior Bowl, has released his newest mock draft. And he's got Abdul Carter from Penn State going number 1 overall to Tennessee, with Travis Hunter 2 to the Cleveland Browns. This on the heels of Myles Garrett requesting a trade from the Cleveland Browns. I don't know that he'll get it, but he could certainly hold out. But the Browns aren't obligated to trade him. We'll see what happens. Cam Ward, number 3 to the Giants. Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from the Patriots, from Michigan, number 4 to the Patriots. Interestingly enough, Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, 5 to Jacksonville. Shadur Sanders, 6 to Las Vegas. And then Will Campbell from LSU, number 7 to the New York Jets. And interestingly, a year ago, the Jets drafted Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, so they took an offensive tackle with the 11th pick a year ago. So this would have them going back-to-back offensive tackles in the draft. But they do list Campbell as an offensive tackle / guard. And I share this with you, and I'm giving the hat tip to Shea Dixon because he was the first that put it on my radar that there are, and this is something we're going to hear more and more, there are NFL scouts who think Will Campbell does not have long enough arms to play tackle in the NFL. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying it's legit. Well, as they say, the eye in the sky don't lie. That's a guy that was a 3-year starter at left tackle in the SEC and was a dominant player. But it's something to the effect of, if he were to be a first-round draft pick, he would be like the first guy in 30 years or whatever with arms that length to go first. Anyway, there's belief by some in the NFL that Campbell could end up playing guard in the NFL. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying file it away because you're going to hear that more and more. Matt Miller does have the Saints going with Tetora McMillan, the receiver from Arizona, at number 9. And he's a 6'5" freak show. I would be totally fine with this. You got to get a true dominant number 1 receiver. I don't know that is the Saints' single biggest need, but when you are a team, a roster that needs everything, then I am okay with essentially anything you would do here, except I've seen some mock drafts that have the Saints taking Ashton Jeanty at 9. And I want to be clear, this is not to be dismissive of Ashton Jeanty. I think he is a fantastic football player. But I think we would all agree, every one of us, that the running back position has been devalued in the NFL. And I fully understand we just spent time talking about how Saquon Barkley is the biggest difference between the Eagles now and what they were 2 years ago. And he is an exceptional talent. And it is possible that Ashton Jeanty becomes that in his NFL career. And I hope that for him, unless he goes to the Falcons. But when I look at how you're trying to build a team in an organization like the Saints right now, where you still have Alvin Kamara under contract, and you need a starting left guard at minimum on your offensive line, a starting left guard. You certainly need tight end help. You absolutely need receiver help, as was illustrated that after the first 2 guys you have, in Olave and Rashid Shaheed, you have nothing. I mean, your leading receiver this year ended up being Juwan Johnson, who's a tight end who we all agreed underperformed this year. Now, part of that was all the injuries you had throughout, but it goes to show you, you do not have enough dynamic playmakers. So, yes, receiver. Flip it over to the other side of the ball. You were bottom 5 in the NFL in sacks. You were bottom 5 in the NFL in run defense. So you need impact guys in your defensive front 7. There's a giant question of what you do with Paulson Adebo at corner. You drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry a year ago. You still got Alontae Taylor, but are you able to re-sign Paulson Adebo? Do you want to re-sign Paulson Adebo? You certainly need help at cornerback. Why Will Johnson from Michigan is someone you're seeing in a lot of mock drafts. And my goodness, do you need help at safety? I mean, Tyron is certainly at the end of his career. And I don't know that you have a true number 2 safety. Unless if you decide to play Alontae Taylor at safety, and if you do that, that opens up more of a necessity for cornerback. All that to say, I know that's a very long-winded way of saying, if the Saints end up going with McMillan out of Arizona at 9, I'm fine with it. Literally the one position, and if they drafted a quarterback at 9, if they let's say Shadur is there, or Cam Ward is there, and they're bullish on one of those guys at 9, I'm fine with it. I would love it. Honestly, I would love for them to be bullish on a quarterback and think they're drafting their future. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just think you have so many needs that the world will be the Saints' oyster at 9. They will have the option to pick darn near any position, a great talent in the top 10 at any position. It would just be very hard to justify selecting a running back at 9 when, if, for example, you were the Eagles, where Saquon Barkley was the thing, was the piece that got your offense over the hump, adding that dynamic of a player to an offense that already included Jalen Hurts, who can beat you with his arm or his legs, and you already had Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown on the outside. Then I look and go, that makes a lot of sense for Philly. For the New Orleans Saints, where you already have Alvin Kamara still under contract, and a team that's not going to be any good, why are you drafting a running back? I need core foundational building blocks, especially when you talk about the lifespan of an NFL running back shrinking. Would you even be good while that player is in their prime? There may be some team picking in the top 10 where it would make a lot of sense to take Ashton Genty. I just don't think that team is New Orleans. So we'll inch closer, and there'll be plenty more mock drafts and lots of thoughts about it. But Matt Miller's latest mock draft has the Saints at 9 taking Troy McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.